Welcome to Nowadays. We are going to have a look on today's news relevant for various competitive exams. Subscribe our channel for daily news and don't forget to click on bell icon. Marginal hike in MSP for 14 Kharif crops. The center has hiked the minimum support price for paddy by less than 4% to rupees 1815 per quintal for the 2019-20 season. The 65 rupees per quintal increase is much lower than last year's hike of rupees 200 per quintal, but it will ensure that the MSP remain exactly 50% above the cost of production, not including land cost. MSPs were hiked for 14 major crops of Kharif for summer season to ensure they remain at a level that is 1.5 times the cost of production. The MSP is the rate at which center procures these crops from farmers. However, there is no guaranteed procurement mechanism for most crops. Just over a third of the paddy harvest is brought by the Food Corporation of India for use in the public distribution system. MSP is a form of market intervention by the Government of India to ensure agricultural producers against any sharp fall in the farm prices. The minimum support price are announced by the Government of India at the beginning of the sowing season for certain crops on the basis of the recommendation of the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. The major objective are to support the farmers from distressed sale and to procure food grains for public distribution. The source is The Hindu. Supreme Court judgment in your language. In a novel measure, the Supreme Court will translate its judgment into a vernacular language for the benefit of the public and litigants across the length and breadth of the country. The software application is intended to be launched by mid-July. The app, similar to Google's text translation, is likely to be launched in the single phase and cover all vernacular languages. The court was taking the help of the high courts in making the move a success. Most likely, the new app would be launched in the inaugural function of the Supreme Court's new office building at Apugar. The move is the brainchild of Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi. The project included not only translating the apex court judgment into Hindi and other vernacular languages, but also to provide summaries of the apex court verdicts. The source is The Hindu. The next news is about Mocumentary Tirth Yatra Yojana. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal on July 12th will flag off the first trip of Mocumentary Tirtha Yatra Yojana, under which the government will pay for pilgrimage of citizens above 60 years of age to different places in India. It will include their travel, stay and food. The first trip will cover Delhi, Amritsar, Attari border, Anandpur Sahib corridor via train, and the group will be back on July 16th. Mocumentary Tirth Yatra Yojana is a scheme of Delhi government that offers free travel packages for 5 religious circuits for senior citizens of Delhi. The government said that 1,100 senior citizens from every constituency of Delhi will be able to avail this facility at one go. To facilitate a seamless coordination for the said scheme, the Delhi Tourism and Transportation Development Corporation Limited has signed an MOU with Indian Railways and Catering Tourism Corporation, Ministry of Railways. The facility provided under the scheme would be a non-AC train with 15 coaches that will have a government doctor and a paramedical staff aboard. To provide security, there will be one unarmed security guard and one tour escort, and those above the age of 70 will be entitled to have one attendant. All trains will leave from Safdarjung railway station. The source is The Hindu. The next news is about high security prison. Kerala gets its first high security prison. Body scanners, biometric fingerprint locking system and surveillance cameras. These are among the facilities available at Kerala's first high security prison launched at Viyur. In the first phase, 55 hardcore criminals from the 3 central prisons in Kannur, Tirunelveli and Viyur will be shifted to the new facility. Among those to be shifted are convicts booked by the National Investigation Agency. The facilities include The jail, constructed with state-of-art security facilities, has the capacity to house 600 prisoners. It has 192 cells. The three-story building is situated in a 9-acre compound and has an administrative block. A body scanner has been installed at the prison as part of security arrangement. A biometric fingerprint lock system is also in place for the entry and exit of staff and others. The building was constructed at 22 crore rupees and security systems were later installed at 11.51 crore rupees. Director General of Prison Rishiraj Singh launched the prison on Wednesday after the painting works were completed. The cells have been built in such a manner that the inmates will not see each other. Interaction between inmates and visitors will be through video conferencing. All rooms have toilets and CCTV cameras. 4 watchtowers with 24 hours monitoring facilities are also there. A hospital with a capacity of 30 beds will also be arranged. A dog squad will also be stationed there. 62 posts have been created for the high security prison. The source is The Hindu. The next news is about the longest electrified tunnel constructed by South Central Railway. The 6.6 km stretch was completed in a record time of 43 months at 460 crore rupees. The South Central Railway has added another feature to its cab by commissioning the longest electrified tunnel in Indian Railways. The tunnel, measuring 6.6 km, is situated between Cherlopalli and Rapura stations and is part of the 113 km new railway line completed recently between the Ubilavaripalli, Venkatachalam, Krishnapatnam port. 2 freight trains have been run successfully on the electrified railway line a few days ago, thereby opening up viable rail connectivity between Krishnapatnam port and the hinterland for goods train service. The new railway line is helpful for decongesting traffic on the Vijayawada-Gudur main line. The tunnel would reduce the distance between Krishnapatnam port and the hinterland areas by 60 km. The electrified tunnel has been constructed in the shape of a horseshoe on the new Australian tunnel modeling. The height of the tunnel is 6.5 meters and the minimum height of the contact were maintained at 5.2 meters. The source is The Hindu. The next news is about Children with Disabilities report. A report by UNESCO and the Tata Institute of Social Science released on Wednesday recommends structural, funding and attitudinal changes to ensure that no child is let out of the right to education. Citing 2011 census data, the report showed that there are more than 78 lakh children with disabilities in the country, aged between 5 to 19 years. Only 61% of them were attending an educational institution. About 12% had dropped out, while 27% had never been to school at all. More than 1 in 4 children with disabilities between ages 5 and 19 in India have never attended any educational institution, while 3/4 of 5-year-olds with disabilities are not in school. There are fewer girls with disabilities in school than boys. Differences remain among various types of disabilities. Only 20% of children with visual and hearing impairment had never been in school. However, among children with multiple disabilities or mental illness, that figure rose to more than 50%. Experts say the situation is worse than what the statistics shows, as the government data on enrollment includes home-based education, which often exists only on paper for children with disabilities. In many parts of rural India, if a parent opts for home-based education, the child may not be getting an education at all. The Right to Education Act mandates enrollment but not the provision of resources needed for the actual education of a child with disabilities. Amendment of the RTE Act 2009 to make it align with the Right of Person with Disabilities Act 2016 are among the major recommendations of the report. The source is The Hindu. The next news is about launch abort system for moon mission by NASA. NASA carried out a successful test on Tuesday of a launch abort system for the Orion capsule designed to take US astronauts to the moon. In the test, an unmanned Orion capsule was launched by a mini rocket, a repurposed first stage of an intercontinental ballistic missile. In just 15 seconds, the capsule gained 2 miles of altitude. Then the tower reoriented the capsule to prepare it for descent and disengagement from the tower. In real life condition, parachutes would open to ease the manned capsule's fall towards the Atlantic Ocean. Source The Hindu. The next news is about memorandum of understanding between India and Maldives for shipping. The Union Cabinet has given ex post facto approval for the memorandum of understanding between India and Maldives for the establishment of passenger and cargo services by sea. India is a leading development partner of Maldives and has established many of the leading institutions of Maldives. Currently, India has provided 100 million US dollars standby credit facility to Maldives, including long-term loans and revolving credit for trade. Mali, the capital and the most populous city, and Kulhu Dufishi, the third most populous city of Maldives, are good prospect for introduction of ferry service from Kochi for both tourists as well as cargo. While Mali is situated at a distance of 708 kilometers from Kochi, Kulhu Dufishi is 509 kilometers away. Present connectivity involves flight to Mali and seaplanes to the resorts, which is an expensive option. On the other hand, connectivity with Kochi through sea could promote inbound tourism, particularly health and wellness tourism for India. The source is PIB. The next is Agricultural Ministry sign a statement of intent with IBM, International Business Machine. Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare signed a statement of intent for undertaking a pilot study in 3 districts of Bhopal, Rajkot, Nanded in the states of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra respectively. It is in the line of aspiration of Prime Minister of India towards achieving the goal of doubling the farmers' income. Use of next generation technologies such as artificial intelligence and advanced weather data for better insights to make faster and more informed agricultural decisions. IBM's Watson Decision Platform for Agriculture aims to combine predictive analytics, artificial intelligence, weather data, and Internet of Things sensor to give farmers insights on plowing, planting, spraying, and harvesting. It will help in increase profitability, improve crop rotation, optimize yield, and support smarter in-season trading. Source is PIB. The next news is about free trade and warehousing zones. There are 8 approved free trade and warehousing zones in India. Out of 8, 4 have been notified. Out of 4 notified, 3 are operational. There is no investment made by the central government in these FTWZs. It was announced in the Foreign Trade Policy 2004-2009 to set up free trade and warehousing zones to create trade-related infrastructure to facilitate the import and export of goods and services within the freedom to carry out trade transactions in free currency. The free trade and warehousing zones is a special category of special economic zone and is governed by the provisions of the Special Economic Zones Act and the rules. It is designated as a deemed foreign territory and are envisaged to be integrated zones and to be used as international trading hubs. It will be fully independent mega trading hubs integrated with the state-of-the-art warehouse and special storage infrastructure, container freight stations, environment-friendly equipments, rail siding for hinterland connectivity, commercial complexes for offices, independent utility stations, banks, and insurance corporations, added to recreation and eventual residential complex for the free trade and warehouse zones workforce. The source is PIB. The next news is about National Disaster Management Authority's workshop on glacial hazards and risk. National Disaster Management Authority, in partnership with the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, is organizing a 2-day brainstorming meeting on the assessment and management of glacial risk, particularly glacial lake outburst floods. Glacial lake outburst floods refers to the sudden discharge of a water reservoir that has formed either underneath, at the side, in front, within, or on the surface of a glacier. As was evident during the 2013 Kedarnath disaster, the resulting impacts on communities and infrastructure can be catastrophic. Glaciers and permafrost environment are changing rapidly across the Indian Himalayan region, giving rise to threats such as glacial lake outburst flood. The region is particularly sensitive to changes in the global climate, and with the residential, tourism, and hydropower infrastructure expanding higher into the alpine valleys, there is a clear need for the assessment and management of glacial hazards to be mainstreamed into major policies. Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and Arunachal Pradesh are the most vulnerable states to the glacial hazards. National Disaster Management Authority is an agency of the Ministry of Home Affairs whose primary purpose is to coordinate response to natural or man-made disasters and for capacity building in disaster resiliency and crisis response. It was established through the Disaster Management Act enacted by the Government of India in December 2005. The Prime Minister is the ex officio chairperson. The agency is responsible for framing policies, laying down guidelines and best practices, and coordinating with the state disaster management authorities to ensure a holistic and distributed approach to disaster management. The source is Press Information Bureau. The next news is about Central Educational Institutions Reservation in Teachers Cadre Bill 2019. The bill has been passed by the Parliament. The bill replaces the Central Educational Institution Reservation in Teachers Cadre Ordinance 2019. The Central Educational Institution Bill 2019 considered the university or college as one unit, restoring earlier reservation system based on 200-point roster. No longer will department or subject be treated as one unit. The decision will allow up more than 7,000 existing vacancies in central education institution and pave the way for filling up 3 lakh vacancies in the government and education institution by the direct recruitment in teachers cadre. It ensures compliance of the constitutional provisions of Article 14, 16 and 21. It ensures full representation of the scheduled caste or scheduled tribes, the socially and educationally backward classes, and economically weaker section in the direct recruitment in teachers cadre. This decision is also expected to improve the teaching standards in the higher educational institution by attracting all eligible talented candidates belonging scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, SC/BC or economically weaker sections. The unit for reservation of posts in direct recruitment in teachers cadre will be the university or educational institution and not the department, such as approval by the government will address the long-standing demands of persons belonging SC/ST, SC/BC and ensure the right envisaged under the constitution. The source is PIB. A memorandum of understanding signed between UPSC and Civil Service of Mongolia. A memorandum of understanding has been signed between the Union Public Service Commission and the Civil Service Council of Mongolia here today to take forward the cooperation between the commissions of two countries. The Chairman UPSC, Sri Arvind Saxena, and Chairman Civil Service Council of Mongolia, Mr. B. Batarsorik, signed the MOU in the presence of officers from the Ministry of External Affairs and Department of Personnel Training. The MOU primarily aims to facilitate sharing and promoting best practices through bilateral exchanges. The MOU also contains enabling provisions for such other cooperations as may be mutually decided in due course. The areas of cooperation includes exchange of experience in use of information technology in examination process, modern approach to public service reforms, exchange of resource persons for conducting specialized training program, seminar or workshop in areas of mutual interest. The source is PIB. The next is about Cabinet approves proposal to extend benefit to Central Armed Police Force officers. The Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has approved the proposal for grant of organized group-based services to Group A executive cadre officers of Central Armed Police Force and extension of benefits of non-functional financial upgradation at non-functional selection grade. It will result in better service delivery to the nation in maintaining internal security of the country. This would result in grant of NFFU to eligible Group A executive cadre officers of Central Armed Police Force. The decision would also benefit Group A executive cadre officers of Central Armed Police Force for availing the benefits of NFSG at an enhanced rate of 30% as per guidelines. The source is All India Radio. Thanks for watching. The PDF of detailed news is given in description. Subscribe our channel for daily news and don't forget to hit the bell icon. See you tomorrow.